Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's just my opinion.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sway. That's right. Welcome back to the channel where I give you my absolute honest opinion. And I don't give a damn how you feel about it. That's right. Welcome back. And as you can see, I created a little mini music video for my new intro. So I guess you can consider this season 2. Or season 3, because I think season 2 was when I did just a small intro of It's Just My Opinion. Anyway, either way, whatever season you want to consider this, welcome back to Sway. That's right. And as always, I have a trusty smoke, a trusty Coke, and before I get started, do not forget to hit like, make a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon so you can be notified of every time that I post a video. Now, just to give you a quick update, I'm working on some mini movies. I'm working on some music. I'm working on music for the mini movies themselves as well. I'm working on a bunch of different things. Excuse me. I'm waiting for certain interviews to take place so I can post it here. These interviews that I've briefly mentioned in the past, they needed to be delayed due to scheduling conflicts on both of our parts, you know, on both myself and the people that are going to be doing the interviews. So I apologize for that. And, you know, we just got to keep pushing forward, right? We got to keep pushing forward on everything. So I lost my lighter, so I have to use matches. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to discuss some things that are happening. Okay, today I'm going to discuss some things that are happening, especially on UFO Twitter, UFO Twitter, right? On UFO Twitter, a bunch of people on my that they are my friends on Twitter. A few are friends on Facebook. You know, just awesome people. You got to check them out. My friend D, who I guess, you know, her Twitter got banned or blocked or something by Twitter, so she had to create a new one. She was known as Out of Mind. You know, again, her website is oom2.com, right? Let me check that out. I want to make sure I want to make sure that I have it. Yeah, oom2.com. That's OOM for Out of Mind 2.com. Check out her website. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff, you know, a lot of great stuff out there. And I've also become Twitter friends with a few others on Twitter, and one of them, and I'm just briefly going over, you know, they're putting all of the Goode Court documents out there. Okay, they're putting all of the court documents out there for the Corey Goode situation. So, you know, so we can keep up to date with all of that stuff. I'm going to put a link to their profile, to their Twitter profile in the description box below. For those of you that don't have it, follow them. There you go. There's just so much stuff going on. And then, you know, in the whole ufology field, concerning disclosure, the supposed disclosure movement that's been promised to us by the mainstream ufology media. It's, it's disappointing to say the least. It's disappointing to say the least. I mean, myself and many others, myself and myself and C.W. Chanter, Stephen Cambion, Stina Maria, and many others, we already saw this shit coming. We already saw all of this stuff coming to, that it was just going to be a big flop. We already knew it was going to be a big flop when the supposed documents of that was supposed to bring disclosure, that was brought upon by the Trump administration. And don't get me, I'm not, everybody has their feelings on Trump and whatever. That's what it is. But for me, I already knew it was going to be, I already knew it was going to be a lot of the same crap. I already knew it was going to be a lot of the same stuff. It was just going to be repeated after information. It's going to be repeated information, stuff that's already been out there, nothing new, nothing of significance at all whatsoever. And especially on UFO Twitter, between all of us, from Paranormal Hood, Jiggy, Spooky, Stephen Cambion, C.W. Chanter, myself, Stina Maria, D from Out of Mind, and so many others, Genocide, and, so many others, too many to name. We've already been saying the exact same things over and over and over and over again, that this disclosure that everybody wants is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, at least through the government. Let's be real. It's not going to happen through the government. And and then, of course, you got the mainstream ufology people saying stuff. Oh, it's because of the Dark Alliance. It's because of this. It's because of, no, it's just, logistically, and you have to really think about this. You have to really think about this logistically, especially concerning governments, world governments, and just, and here in the United States, the United States government, concerning secrecy, confidentiality, top secret stuff, and what have you. They're not just going to release whatever. They're not just going to release whatever. Whatever's going to be a threat to the country, because their main concern is going to be the safety of this country. Their main concern is going to be the safety of this country. And yes, do I agree that there are white hats and black hats, that there's kind of like a balance or internal war? Yeah, I do. But personally, on top of that internal war, I just don't trust anybody on any side. And I've been saying this for a long time. I don't trust politicians. I don't trust. I just don't have any faith. I don't have any trust that any information is going to be publicly given from the top tier in the government. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, and unless ET itself decides to, and actually I'm going to go into that in a minute, unless ET itself decides to, to land on the White House lawn with like 3 million cell phone cameras going live and a bunch of mainstream media and so on and so forth. It's, say, take me to your leader or take me to your leaders, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And logistically, And and then concerning the safety of especially when it comes to top secret projects that the government has been on for years and years. They're just not going to expose that. They're not going to expose that. Do I believe that there are some whistleblowers that come out either publicly in the community? Yes and no. Okay. I believe that, yes, it is possible that you have many whistleblowers that go to somebody and reveal information because that person is a public figure in the community. But at the same time, they're just not going to give everything either, because they with the oath that they've taken and the contracts that they've signed, if they get exposed, and we're talking about the United States intelligence community and intelligence agencies with the military and so on and so forth, they're going to be exposed pretty quick. So they have to be careful on what they do reveal at certain times and whatever. But the problem that we have is that we have a lot of leeches in the community, and a lot of these leeches are the top tier big names in the community, that they leech onto that. They hear it early on because they're so obsessed with trying to maintain that top tier rank that they'll hit on it, and then they try to come out as, oh yeah, I got new intel. I got new intel. I got new intel. I got new intel. They're, in other words, they're data mining, whether they're doing it online or they're paying close attention to everything and anything. And then that's what happens. That's what happens. It's, and then of course, in my opinion, the government does have misinformation and disinformation agents in the community, because especially if it's something that is very top level, top secret project that they don't want out there, they're going to do what it takes to make sure that either people get discredited, or the information sounds so radical out there that no one's really going to believe it. There's so much going on that we really have to be careful who we're listening to when it comes to this information. We really have to be careful, especially when with the issues that we've been having over the past several years, where you had these top tier guys that so many people, they're like, oh, this is my new Jesus Christ type of crap. And well, you already know through the court documents and whatever, and the stories coming out and the testimonies that, they're just full of shit. And this is just my opinion, and the opinions of many other people, they're just full of shit. So you don't know. So when it comes to the top tier people, you have no idea who's really telling the truth. I personally, I knew Stephen Greer, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, Stephen Greer was full of crap. From the beginning. And here we go. We have Stephen Cambian on his channel, Truth Seekers. He pretty much exposed Stephen Greer as lying sack of shit. That's a lying sack of shit. That all of these supposed meetings that he's had with government officials, it turns out that they're just shitting themselves. Come on now. And the problem that we have, one of the main problems, okay, in the ufology community that we have is that too many people want to believe. Now, I already know and this is just my personal experiences. And my personal experiences, do I believe there's ETs out there? Yes. And I have my own thoughts and opinions on there. I've experienced a lot of crazy crap. I mean, even to this day, I experienced a lot of crazy crap. But here's my thing with me is that because of the lack of proof, concerning certain things, I'm not going to put it out there like that. I'm not going to put it out there like that because of the fact that I know what's with everything that's going on, especially concerning with the top big names and all of that stuff. I don't want to, I don't want to give out information. I don't want to give out information of things that's happened to me and whatever. And then at the same time, because so many people have been lied to by the top tier, I don't want them to be like, oh, well, you're just full of shit too, just like this person or this person. I can tell you about my experiences and how I feel about it and whatever, but at the same time, with all the lies that have been spewed by the top tier people, you know what, I'd rather just keep it to myself for now. But I am having conversations with a lot of people. On a personal level, I'm having conversations with a lot of people, telling them what I've experienced, and then they tell me what they've experienced, and so on and so forth. And we compare notes, and we spread the information behind the scenes, but we keep it to me. But it doesn't get in a public forum because of the fact that with all the shit going on, what the hell? Now I did 2 interviews with my friend Natasha Hines for her website, natashahines.com, and where I talk about these things. So I don't know if she posted them yet or if she's going to post them soon or whatever, but me and Natasha, we're really good friends. We're really great friends. She's like my best friend. You know what I'm saying? We check up on each other and whatever. Yeah, there are times, and we're a lot alike. We're a lot alike. And I'm not gonna publicly talk about personal conversations that me and her have had on a lot of issues or whatever. But it's really comforting to know that, what, I have this really great friend. That, oh shit, they understand. They get it, you know? So there's a lot of stuff going on in the ufology community. And because of the lies that have been spewed by so many people, and then a lot of these YouTubers and radio show hosts, and as you name them, they've featured them on their show. Even after it was discovered that they're just full of shit. Oh my freaking gosh, so there's just so much going on. And I'm glad to be part of a community where, what, we're just searching for the truth. We're searching for the truth. Now, and it's not that we're not willing to give anybody a chance to we're not giving anybody a chance to tell their story, but it's more of we want some actual proof. We want some actual, nuts and bolts proof. We want something that's not photoshopped. We want something that's, you know what I mean? We want something that we don't want to hear a big story and not have some kind of proof. Now, the problem with that is that people that actually have had their own personal experience, and I'm going to use myself as an example. And, like I've said before in other videos, I recorded myself sleeping to see what happens and whatever during these moments. And holy shit, all of a sudden my camera glitches or something happens where I'm like, what's going on? There's a lot behind the scenes that's hard to explain or whatever, but even a camera glitching doesn't really provide enough proof for a lot of people. So a lot of these mainstream media, well, not mainstream media, but a lot of these mainstream people in ufology, what they know that. So they use that as an excuse of, well, the reason why I don't have food was because of blah, 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 blah. No, it's even if it's something minute, there has to be some kind of proof. And in my opinion, even my camera glitching is some kind of proof. In my opinion, even certain things, I woke up with scars in certain areas or needle marks, whatever certain areas, but my camera doesn't. And my camera, all it is just looking at me, and my body is just still for 8 or so hours. Is some kind of proof of something paranormal. Whether it's ETs or demonic or whatever, but shit, it's, but it's not something that I'll put out there in YouTube due to the fact that because of the fact of all the crap that's been put out there, all the lies, all the nonsense, whatever. I don't want to, I don't want people to quickly dismiss that because like I've said before, on my own, I doubt everything, even my own experiences. So, I'll take these videos. Yeah, and I don't have top of the line equipment. All I have is my laptop and all I have, you know what I'm saying? But, even on a basic editor, you can go frame by frame by frame by frame and look at every piece of the video. And, and I do that for hours on end, to see where the glitch happens and what have you. There's this, I doubt my own stuff as well. So I'm constantly double checking, triple checking, and eventually at some point, I might just show a video or something. Hey, look, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. What the hell? And at the same time, some people, they're like, oh, why don't you get yourself a security camera? Get yourself a security camera and take video and blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing about security cameras. Security cameras, the way that they're built is that they are okay, like a regular camera, right? Okay, so let's take my Canon, right? Let's take my Canon, right? I can set this up to take anywhere from like 1 frame per second to 5 frames per second to 30 frames to 60 frames for for that 4K quality, what have you. And what people don't realize is that a security camera, I believe, it's somewhere from 5 to 10 to 15 frames per second. So at any point with a security camera, with a bug just flying through or whatever, because it's only taking 5 to 10 to 15 frames per second, automatically that bug is going to look like some kind of weird spirit. It's going to look like some kind of weird spirit. And even if you're going frame by frame by frame, you know, it's really hard to pinpoint a lot of things. So you're automatically going to think, oh, it's a spirit, it's a fairy. No, so you know, and this is on the low end, as far as security cameras. I don't know on the high. I don't know too much about the high end, but because I'm poor, I'm broke, you know, I've looked into the low end of it. I think high, you know, if a high-end security camera can capture up to 60 frames per second, it'll be easier to go frame by frame by frame by frame by frame by frame, and it'll be easier to do that and see, okay, it's just a bug or whatever. But a lot of people that they get security cameras, these are 5 to 10 to 15 frames per second, and a bug moving around, like, you know, a fly, a butterfly, a moth, whatever, it's gonna, you know what I mean? But anyway, so with all of that being said, today's thing I want to talk about, okay, on Twitter, and my wife has said there's a new docu-series on Netflix. I started watching until Nat Corbell and Dolan showed up. What a joke. All the usual suspects. Okay. You know, D responded, I responded, and genocide, and that's what it was. That was the post or whatever. So okay, so there's two series on Netflix that I you know, I don't pay attention to the UFO series and documentaries and all that stuff on Netflix, you know. So that just doesn't, you know, if I watch Netflix, I'm gonna watch Star Trek, I'm gonna watch, you know, The Walking Dead, I'm gonna watch, you know, you know, movies and others. I'm not going to pay too much attention to like, you know, like I used to. But there's one called Hangar One and another one called Review Top Secret UFO Projects Declassified, whatever. And this one is a Netflix series, like an original. You know, I remember Hangar One, I think it was on Sci-Fi for a bit. And then, but this one is a Netflix original. Okay, so I reviewed the first episode. Okay, I reviewed the first episode on this. I get into it. Okay, I just saw the first episode. Okay, I saw the first episode. All right, and just in the first episode alone, they were talking about Project Blue Book. Okay, they were talking about Project Blue Book. Okay, let's see what happens. Mind you, just about every docu-series that has come out, from Ancient Aliens to whatever, that's talked about Project Blue Book, they've talked about the same damn freaking cases. They've talked about the same freaking cases of Project Blue Book. Okay. And they've had the same people over and over and over again. I was actually surprised that, you know, David Wilcock wasn't in the first episode, because he tends to be just about everything. But okay. So it starts off episode one, you know, the Netflix logo, right? And they briefly mentioned, and I took notes. Okay. I took notes just to show you. All right. So they briefly mentioned the Foo Fighters of 1944. Okay. 1944. And that's all that they mentioned of, that's all that they mentioned about it. It's just, oh, 1944, the Foo Fighters. That's pretty much it. Okay. Then they start talking about a couple of facts of World War II, and then they mention briefly the Cold War. Okay. Then automatically they have Stephen Bassett talking about okay, Stephen Bassett, he was just making a comparison of like, they came because of, he was talking about the nukes that we had at the time during the Cold War and submarines that had the Cold War and how dangerous it was or whatever, some BS like that. And today is August 9th. I saw it yesterday, August 8th. Okay. And then they did this really cool little alien intro, with the intro credits, right? And they give Project Blue Book right there. Okay. Then they talk about the June 47th Kenneth Arnold incident where the term flying saucer or flying disc was coined. They talk about the July 1947 the Roswell. Okay, dealing with Joseph Hynek. Okay, another person that they brought in to talk about everything was Paul Hynek, the son of Joseph Hynek. Okay. Mind you, there's a couple of people that I just could not recognize and they didn't put a graphic. It's not that I couldn't, it's like I've seen them before. I just don't remember their names and they didn't put credits on their names or something like that. Okay. And then of course, Richard Dolan, you hear his voice, you once you hear his voice, you know it anywhere. Okay. Then they had some guy. They had Alejandro Rojas. Okay. Alejandro Rojas. They had Jesse Marcel Jr. They had Nick Pope, Michael Sala, another guy that I can't remember. Okay. And basically this is kind of throughout the whole thing where, they're doing whatever. Next thing they talk about is the 1952 Washington, D.C. Incident. Okay, and they had some kind of pics, and then they had, it looked like a reenactment. It looked like a reenactment video where they could, they kind of made it look like it was old school camera or whatever. And I know I've seen this in other, and here's the thing about just on the Project Blue Book stuff alone, they use the same B-roll and stock footage that's been used throughout all of these docuseries concerning Project Blue Book, with the exception of a couple of interview clips here and there or whatever, but they're using the exact same shit. They're using the exact same shit throughout this whole first episode. Okay. Anyway, so they're talking about the July 1952 Washington, D.C. incident where a bunch of UFOs were around the White House and whatever, and the Lincoln Memorial and all that stuff. And how what was it? President Truman, he sent out planes to go after them and blah, blah, blah. They had a James Ritchie interview clip. Okay. And it was funny because they were mentioning it was funny because the way they were talking about it, it was like they were also, because this is a brand new show, they were comparing it to the Tic Tac incident. Okay, the Tic Tac incident, and they were comparing it to another incident that happened and whatever. And it was just funny because even before they said whatever they said, that it was comparing it to the Tic Tac incident, I was like, oh wow, it could be a possible drone. Because when they were talking about how the jet fighters, this, that, and the other, I was like, that sounds the same. In my head, I was like, that sounds the same thing as John D'Souza said, saying that it was a drone, it wasn't a UFO type, whatever. And then next thing you know, they started comparing it to the Tic Tac thing, and where John D'Souza said that it was a drone, a military drone. Okay. Then they had Kathleen Martin. Okay. Now, I don't know much about Kathleen Martin. I've seen her maybe once or twice before. So for me, she's still a new person in the mix. So that was pretty interesting to me. Okay. Um, they did a John, and she did a John Sanford quote. She's, John Sanford and, whatever. Um, they had like black and white animations, and it was funny because the narrator, and I'm just paraphrasing here, where the narrator who pretty much says, "We are here and atomic bombs are dangerous for you and the universe." And it was funny because it, with the fact that this is a brand new show that came out, I don't know what last year or this year or something like that, right? Um, with the stuff with Corey Goode talking about the cosmic web and the reason why the ETs came here because da da da. I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me that they took that and kind of paraphrased Corey Goode and other people and the other people that Corey Goode has taken information from, according to the evidence that he data mined. Okay. Okay. And they were saying that because of this situation in the 1952 Washington, D.C. incident, because of all of this stuff, this is the reason why the alphabet organizations were created. CIA, NSA, blah, blah, blah. The next thing is the obvious. They're going to talk about George Adamski, 1952. They mentioned George Adamski and Orthon from Venus. And it was funny because when they mentioned the part of George Adamski's story where he walked, him and his friends, they saw this thing, and then it's like, and George Adamski left them and he walked towards the craft or whatever, and then the narrator says he walked, but then the animation shows a car driving to it. And they show in the Adamski clip and whatever. And then, of course, they talk about Adamski, how he had pictures of the UFO, but then they mentioned here that Adamski's pic was debunked, that it wasn't a UFO, but actually a surgical lamp. So that was actually interesting because I never saw that before. I mean, obviously, in our community, whatever, we've talked about it. I know that CW has talked about it, Stevens talked about it, and many other, that was, but it was interesting to know that actually, a production talked about it. Okay. And they were talking about, hold on, let me make sure I'm on the right note. I'm on the right page. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right page. Then they were talking about with all of this stuff happening or whatever, the alphabet letter organizations in the government, they are making sure that that's why Project Blue Book was invented and blah 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 and all that stuff. And anything that can be explained as anything that can be explained as a conventional craft, it was made public, and anything else was withheld. And then they were they mentioned Mary what was it, Mary Rodwell. There, Mary Rodwell, she was thrown in the mix with all of that. Then the next thing they talked about was Edward Ruppet, right? Or Rupert or Ruppet, however you say it. And he was responsible for the book coming out, being made public and whatever. And how Joseph Hynek was hired. And it was funny because when they showed a picture of Joseph Hynek, to me, I'll say, oh shoot, that's my old music teacher from middle school, Mr. Hilby. Another two people were introduced, and that's JJ and Desiree Herzog. Okay, and they have a connection. I believe it was with Heineck, and they have a connection with Heineck or Edward or I forgot. I forgot to write it down. I should have written it down. I'm sorry. But again, these are two people that I really haven't seen them on the mainstream. I've heard of them. And I've seen them kind of here and there on YouTube or whatever, but I never really saw them on mainstream. But again, I don't really watch the mainstream. I don't really watch the mainstream documentaries, docuseries like that because it's just a waste of time. Okay, it's a waste of time. But it was kind of cool that they mentioned JJ. And it was mainly Desiree talking. JJ wasn't really saying anything. And then they had Ray Hernandez, again, another person I've seen in the past. This was kind of, this was just really a repeat. A lot of people may not have seen Ray Hernandez, but to me, it was a repeat because I've seen Ray Hernandez like 35 times and 35 different things. Okay. And as I mentioned before, they're just using the same stock footage and B-roll of all of this stuff that every other documentary and docu-series I've used. Okay. And then they mentioned the 1959 Papua New Guinea incident with Father Gill. Okay. Now, this is one story that hasn't, in my opinion, it hasn't been really used as much as the others, but it has been put out there many times, not as much as with Adamski and whatever, but but it was really, again, refreshing that they brought it up for a big series like this on YouTube. Mind you, I mean, on Netflix, mind you, Netflix has had so many other documentaries and series and whatever, just repeating the same information. Now it's their own series, and they brought it up, the 1959 Papua New Guinea thing. Okay. And where the priests and parishioners, they saw a craft with like beans on top, and the Father Gill and the parishioners, they were like hi, and then the beans on top of it on the craft, they're like hi, waving hi. I actually kind of did a little doodle of that, and see if I can. There you go. That was just right. Then they talked about the Condon Committee. And Richard Dolan, his quote saying that it was rigged. And then they talked about the Robertson panel and with Heineck. And mind you, again, going back to my first notes, they had Paul Heineck, the son of Joseph, on there and whatever. I mean, there's a lot of repeat customers, a lot of repeat speakers on there. And then project. No, sorry. I misspoke on something. I apologize for that. Anyway, I'll go back to him. And Project Blue Book came to light because of Mercer or something like, I didn't take too detailed notes because of the fact that it's just not important. It's just repeat information. Okay. Then you talk about the April 1964, the Socorro, New Mexico, with Lonnie Zamora incident. And they had a voice clip of Lonnie Zamora. And it was funny because, and I'm paraphrasing that, all the speakers, and I believe Dolan was the main guy that said it. I could be wrong. I know it could have been somebody else, but pretty much all they were saying is like Project Blue Book didn't answer shit. I'm just paraphrasing. That's not exactly what they said, but they were like, Project Blue Book didn't answer shit. Okay. Next thing they talked about was the March 1966 Shepherd's Air Force Base in Texas, the Eddie Laxton incident. And they had Michael Schratt. Again, Michael Schratt, he's kind of, in my opinion, he's the new guy in the block. But I've seen him mainly on YouTube stuff and whatever. But, but again, I don't watch a lot of the mainstream docuseries or whatever like that. So I'm just comparing everything to what I have seen in the past when I used to be like, when I used to watch it religiously. Okay. That's what I'm comparing it to. All right. So they had Michael Schratt. And it was kind of funny because with the Eddie Langston incident, okay, mentioned that the craft was 75 feet long, 8 feet high, 12 foot wide. And then it had the letters TL and the numbers 4768 on it. Okay, so that could have been a military craft. All right. Obviously, your eyes can see the letters and numbers TL4768. The question is how the hell did Eddie Langston measure the craft? When by all accounts, it's not like he went up to it and took a measuring tape and like, okay, it's 75 feet long, 8 feet high, 12 feet wide. It's like, how the hell did he measure it? A lot of the, it's one of those things is like, how the hell did he measure it? And I get it that maybe after the, if it was after the fact where they said, well, because the road was about this wide or whatever, we can approximate that the craft was ... If it was something like that, okay, I can give it some credence. I can give it, I can be like, okay, I understand it, because they're measuring it based on physical landmarks in the air or whatever. But every time this has been presented, that I've seen it in the past, it was just, no, it is exactly, but well, how the hell did you measure it? Okay. And then they talked about ATIP, and Michael Masters gets on there to speak. Again, Michael Masters to me is a new guy on the block. I never really seen him in a lot of the stuff from the past or anything. It's just, I never really heard his name until, let's see, a few months ago. So to me, he's the new guy on the block. Okay. But he's talking about how it's a divide and conquer strategy. It's divide and conquer strategy where they want to divide the American people, and to go, like this group of non-believers goes against this group of believers, and even within the believers they want every group against each other, and blah 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 type of, and then of course, with Meryl, and then they had like Meryl Cook. So those are pretty much all the notes that I've taken for the first episode. Okay, again, it's just repeat information with maybe a couple of new faces here and there, but it's this basically the same faces that you normally see. You know what I mean? I haven't seen episode 2 yet. I might see it or whatever, but in my opinion, from what I saw in the tweet and whatever, it's just going to be the same repeat customers, same repeat speakers of, Dolan and this person and that person and whoever. And this is not new information. This is stuff that we've known for years. Don't present it as, oh my God, we got the best new information type stuff or whatever. No, just if you have new information, give it. Stop giving us this bullshit. The stuff that's been repeated for the past several years. You know what I'm saying? Since I was like, I'm 38 years old. Damn, this is the same information I remember since I was a kid. For crying out loud, But anyway, That's it for today. That's it for today. That's it for today. So I got another video I'm going to be working on to bring to you either this week or next week. And I hope you enjoy that as well. So until next time, remember, I'm Sway. I love you all. Peace.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Sway. I'm just here to remind you that if you like my work and you want to go ahead and buy me a coffee, all of that information is in the description box below. Take care, and I love you all.
It's just my opinion.